Okay. So we're ready. Yeah? So last week, the first lesson, we already discussed about how important algebra is. Why? Because a lot of operation in maths require the knowledge of algebra. So what happened today here is that we're going to go to look into one of the topic for maths, which is we call linear equation. Linear is actually a straight line. So you can see that one example here, we got the linear equation. And this is actually a linear graph. A linear graph meaning a straight line. So let's check it out here. Yeah, please mute your sound, please. We have already a sample here. This straight line, okay, plotted on your x-axis and on your y-axis here. And then it's given here y equals to 3x plus 1. So I am going to teach you how to get the equation for this line. How do we get y equals to 3x plus 1? Okay, so the first thing here is that to understand, okay, when we talk about linear equation, the equation is actually, the general equation is in the form y equals to mx plus c. I already written it here. Y equals to mx plus c. And I call that, yeah, just to make things fun, to learn maths, I call it the skeleton. Can you imagine like a dinosaur, it has a skeleton, the same goes with a human being, we have skeleton, isn't it? So it's the same thing as, okay, a skeleton for a straight line. And that skeleton is what we call the equation. Right. What do you mean by M here and what do you mean by C here? Let's check it out, yeah? Bismillah. You can see here, there you go, magic show, there you go. M is actually the gradient. Gradient is a slope, yeah? Slope here, do you see this line? It's a slope. So M stands for the slope of this line. Okay, what do you mean by C? Let's check it out. What is actually C? Equal, there you go. C is what we call the Y-intercept. So, in other words, you have a skeleton, which is your equation. Your linear equation is your skeleton. What is actually different? Okay, because our line will not be like this, yeah? We will have different line depending on the value of your M and the C. Okay, right. Let's check it out. How to find the gradient, which is the slope of this line. Okay, if you are given a graph, for example, we have a graph here. What do we need to do? We'll just need to identify a 2 point, at least 2 point. I don't know what is that thing, yeah? So at least 2 point, this disturbance. All right, so we have 2 point being identified to us. So once you, I mean, any point on the line, okay, any point, as long as it's actually a whole number. Now for this case, we have identified the first point is 1, 4, and the second point is 0, 1. I'm sure by now you should know how to read the point, right? So the x, okay, the value of your x is actually what you written, the first one. So this one is actually your x value. And then 4 is actually here, 4 representing your y value. And then you have to put coordinate inside a bracket. Okay. Now, what happens next? Okay, what you need to do, just when you got the points and the graph, what you can do here is actually, you can just use a pencil, put on top of the point, okay, put on top of the point, use a pencil, just label it. So I label this one as x2, and then the value of the y is y2. one might say, why do I put x2, y2? Because we have 2 points. So this one I label as 1, yeah? So x1, y1. Just 1 second. It would be easier for you if you were to label it. So in other words, x1 is actually 0, y1 would be 1, and then x2 is actually 1, and then y2 is actually 4. We are giving some sort like a label here saying that this is the first point, this is the second point. The x coordinate for the first point is actually x1. The y coordinate for the first point is y1. And then the x coordinate for the second point is x2. And then the y coordinate for the second point is y2. Why? Because it would be easier for you to work out, yeah, your gradient. So we have a formula for your gradient. Let's check it out. What is actually the formula? Voila, we got this, yeah? So I will explain. So the formula, write it down. M equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So that is actually your formula. So that's why when I decided to label my point, I already know, yeah? Where is my x2? Where is actually my x1? Where is actually y2? Where is actually y1? So what you need to do, just substitute. So what is y2? Y2 is actually 4. So you just substitute 4 here. So 4 in place of y2 minus, what is my y1? So that's why if you were to label using a pencil, it would be, your eyes will be easy to see. Yeah. So the most important thing for maths is you can see. So this is y1. So y1 is actually 1. So 4 minus 1 divided by, okay, x2, just follow this, yeah? Just follow the rule. X2 is actually 1. And then minus, okay, x1 equals to 0. So your eyes can follow easily if you were to label it in pencil. If you were to do this. Right, then we can solve this. 4 minus 1, 3. Okay, 1 minus 0 is 1. So 3 over 1 is actually 3. So m, the value of m equals to 3. As easy as that. Okay, so what do I need to do? Okay, get my skeleton. Okay, before that, let's have a look at C here. What is actually C? C is actually the Y-intercept. What do you mean by the Y-intercept? Where this line meets your y-axis, or the point of intersection between your y-axis and your straight line is what we call the Y-intercept. So for this case, the Y-intercept, I can see clearly, 1. The point is actually at 1 here. At y equals to 1 is your point of intersection. So easily I can say C is actually 1. So I'm going to write it down here. C equals to 1. I think I already written it down. There you go. So from my calculation of M just now, M equals to 3, C equals to 1. What next? You can actually put this value in your skeleton. Which skeleton? Y equals to mx plus c. So we just got to put it here. There you go. Different color. There you go. Yeah. So you can see that y. Okay. So this is actually your skeleton. What is your m just now? M is actually 3. And then just put the x. Okay. Do not lose the x. Just put x. You see. And then plus c. C is actually 1. So the answer is y equals to 3x plus 1. So that is actually the equation for this line. So this is when we are given the graph. Alas? Okay. Now what happens if you are not given any graph? For example, I have another question here. Let's try to do this question here. You see, I don't have a clue what the graph looks like, right? But what does this question say? A line passes through point A, 2, 3, and B, 4, 1. Find the equation for this line. Now, one might say, I may plot this graph, but if they didn't ask for the graph, there's no need for that. But can you actually find the equation of the graph or the straight line without actually plotting the graph? Yes, you can. So you have to use what? You have to use the formula. Okay. So just 1 second. I think I'll use this example. Yeah? I use this example. Why? Because I already enhanced it. Okay, let's use this. A line passes through point C, -1, 0, and D, 5, 5. Find the equation for this line. So first of all, what do I need to do? So I'm just going to highlight this. This is the skeleton again, remember? Okay, so where is the skeleton? Y equals to mx plus c. So I'm just going to write it down, the skeleton first, before we even go to write m. So the skeleton is y equals to mx plus c. Small y, yeah? Not the big Y. Then what next? So this is actually the skeleton. We will have another 4 minutes for maths, then we will switch to chemistry. So one at a time. I don't need you to follow. Yeah, I don't need to rush. Like I said, this is a long-term project. I don't need to rush. Okay, first skeleton y equals to mx plus c. Okay. Now, what is the most important thing that I want to find? I want to find my m. So I'm going to put different color here. I want m. How to find m? Use this formula. So this is actually the formula for m, just like what we did just now. What's the formula for m? M is y2 minus y1 slash, meaning divide by. It's easier for me to type slash. Divide by x2 minus x1. So that is actually your gradient. M is actually gradient or your slope. Okay, what do I need to do here? I need to label. So this is what I did previously. I did my labeling here. Just 1 second. Let's have a look at my labeling. Okay, sorry, no, not this one. Yeah? All right. So I already labeled it. Yeah. So I choose point D is my second point. So point D would be, so I have my, this one will be 5 would be x2. My y value 5 would be y2. And then my x value here. So this is the first point. So this is x1 and y1. Easier for me to put this in my equation. Yeah, in my formula. So let's follow our eyes. So y2 is 5, so just put 5 here, and then y1 is actually 0, just put, so 5 minus 0 divided by, okay, what is x2? X2 is 5, okay, 5. What is y? So what is x1? X1 is minus 1. Now when you have a minus number, you can put inside the bracket. So originally the formula is minus x1. So x1 is actually minus 1. So I put minus and then put inside the bracket the minus 1. So now we can solve it. 5 minus 0 equals to 5 divided by, okay, 5 minus minus 1. So minus and minus, minus multiplied by a minus becoming plus. Remember that, yeah? So this comes under the positive and negative number. Okay, we will learn more into that next time. But just remember, if you see something like this, it's actually a plus. Minus and a minus will be a plus. So you open up the bracket. So 5, okay, minus minus plus. So it's going to be plus 1. So 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. So what is m here? M is a fraction. Don't be scared of fraction. So m is a fraction, 5/6. Khalas, just write it down. Then what do you need to do? Substitute your m in your skeleton just now. What is your skeleton? Y equals to mx plus c. Okay. So what is my m? M is actually 5/6. So rewrite the skeleton. Y equals to mx plus c. So y equals to, put inside the bracket, 5/6, which is your m, and then x, do not put anything for your x, so x, and then plus c. And then open up the bracket, y equals to 5/6x plus c. Okay, so that is actually the first solution. What is actually not complete here? C. I don't know what is my C here. So what do I need to do? To find C, substitute, okay, the value of your point. You can choose any point you like. Well, saying any point that you like is not any point that you like. The point that is given, yeah? Okay, either your C or your D here. Okay, so what do I need to do? Okay, I think I choose C here. So we just put C here, yeah? You can choose anyone. So I'm choosing C. There you go. So just delete D there. So what do I need to do? Okay, the X, and this is X value -1. This is the Y value. Okay, so substitute in this equation. Which equation? This one. So I'll just put this green color so you see it clearly. All right. So in place of y, I put 0 equals to, okay, 5/6. So I just put 5/6 multiplied by, what's the value of my x now? Substitute the value of your x for your c, -1 here, and then plus c. And then you can actually 5/6 multiplied by -1 is equivalent to -5/6, because over here is 0, right? So 0 equals to -5/6 plus c. Now is the time to use your algebra skill. What do I need to do? I want c. So move -5/6 to the other side. You can see this one very clearly. Just 1 minute, yeah, then we can switch to chemistry, inshallah. This is a very clear thing. So -5/6, I move it to the other side, becoming a plus 5/6. So we can see that, yeah? There you go. So 0 plus 5/6 is 5/6. Then we can make C, just rearrange it. Yeah? I'm not doing anything. Just say C, because why? Because C must be the subject. We can say C equals to 5/6. Just rearrange the this equation. There you go. C equals to 5/6. Next, okay, rewrite this. The first solution that we got, y equals to 5/6x, and there go, y equals to 5/6x. But instead of putting c, I will put my c, which is 5/6 here. There you go. Done. Alhamdulillah. You can see it here. So in other words, that is actually the equation for my line which passes through point C, -1, 0, and D, 5, 5. Okay. We don't want to disrupt the class here. Okay, halas, yeah. So do take your time, re-watch this video again. So we did what? We did this one just now. We did this one. All right, when we are given the graph, and then we discuss this one. Graph is not given, but 2 points. One might say, if I have only 1 point, can I find the gradient? La, I cannot. Seriously, I cannot find the gradient. Okay, so that is it for maths. Alhamdulillah. Take it easy. Rewatch the video. I will send this in the PDF, and I will give the second question as the, okay, this one, and I will put down the answer, but you try yourself first, yeah, as the homework. The same goes with this. No, we got another one. Okay, so we're going to go for chemistry. So I'm just going to stop recording for this one first.